Hey, Brett here. So now we're going to work on sort of the shoulders a little bit, and we're going to get a little bit of hamstring in, but we'll do some more hamstring in a bit. So uh, I'm going to show you two varieties of the next thing we're going to do. Um, one variety, imagine you have a yoga mat, step wider than your yoga mat. And also, I just sort of bend over because I have the flexibility to do so, but you might start in down dog, step wide, bring your hands back, and then you want to drop into your shoulders. Now, this is already a nice hamstring stretch. The problem that I have is I'm not flexible enough to get a stretch here. And that's what I want to do. I want to and in fact, I'm not going to give up the hamstring stretch and I'm going to get the stretch up there. So that doesn't work for me, but it might work for you. It's a great pose. I did it like that for a year. So what I do is bench. I'm going to use this pillow, I believe. It's a good one to use. I'm going to raise my hands. And by doing that, I'm able to sink into my shoulders. So I'm able to sink into my shoulders. And again, pretzel arms hold our shoulders apart, as did here. But this one is going to push our shoulders back. So we've been doing forward and back. We're moving our shoulders quite a bit tonight. So feet are wide. I'm going to fall in. Now, how deep do I go? I'm going to bend my knees a little bit, and I'm going to get myself into where I'm feeling some kind of stretch between my shoulder blades. And then I'm going to slowly raise up, and here we go. Now we're going to hold this one. This is a big one. We're going to hold this for a while. So let me distract you for a little bit. Breathe to relax, principle one. Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. Breathe to relax. Throughout the day, 5 breaths a minute. If you're taller than 6'2", maybe 3.8 breaths a minute. There's some scientific study for that. But 5 breaths a minute. Inhale to a count of 6, exhale to a count of 6. You can certainly do 4, 4, 4, 4 box breathing. You can do 5, 1, 5, 1. But generally speaking, most people breathe too much, and it actually does long-term inflammation to your body. Breathe, slow down. Passive tension over time. I'm allowing my muscles to just relax. That creates a pull that allows my breastbone to melt down to the ground. And then once I got a good feel, I'm going to straighten my legs up a little bit more to get a bit more of a hamstring stretch going on there. There we go. So I've got the shoulders and hamstrings. We're going to be here a while because the longer you sit, the more the muscles relax. And the nice thing about it is, while flexibility does come on slower than strength, it lasts longer because there's no cost to maintain a flexible body compared to maintaining muscles, which require calories. I actually experienced this personally. I took a 6-month break when I tore a shoulder blade. I did the wrong thing by taking a 6-month break, but nonetheless, that's what happened. And I noticed after a 6-month hiatus that while on most of the poses I started them a little stiffly, I really hadn't lost anything. And I'm still gaining even here 3 years later. So I do this as a daily practice. This isn't an event. This is a way of being because it reduces stress. It reduces your long-term inflammation. Probably helps with your insulin regulation. So many good things going on here. Wet noodle. The muscles that you're stretching, try to relax them as much as you can. Now my legs are locked out. They're not, but I'm not using any effort because that's just my bone structure holding my legs in place and the stretch of my ligaments. So wet noodle. And here's why. Uh, the same fibers that we're trying to relax are the same fibers that are used when they contract to cause strength. So while you can do some minor stretching when you're engaging the muscle, it's more effective to not engage the muscle. However, don't do this and then do anything else for 4 hours. You can walk, that's fine, but don't go jogging after this. This is the last thing you do. You destabilize the muscles and you turn off your nervous system for a while. It takes really 2 to 3, but I use 4 as my 4 hours. And I'm serious about that. You really can mess yourself up. I've done it. Screwed up my back trying to plow after doing some of the poses we're going to do later on. Took like 6, 8 weeks to heal. When I walk down the stairs after doing these poses, I use both handrails just to be safe. I don't actually need to in that case, but I'm just being safe. We're destabilizing the muscles. Now, I'm using props. Here's the thing, it's how it feels, not how it looks. I had done this pose for a year. I made this adjustment after doing the pose for actually more like a year and a half. That's 5 minutes at least a week. And all of a sudden, my back, which had been frozen since 1981, and we're coming out. Now, to come out of this pose, put one hand down on the ground, put another hand down on the ground. Remember, do not use the muscles that you've been stretching. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I did with Ragdoll to come out of that. Okay, now, ooh, that was a big one. I'm going to circle my shoulders a little bit here, forward and backward. Now, the next pose, uh, I'm going to show you a couple options and then we're going to go into it. All right, so let's see. First option is on the ground with a block. Now you're also going to want a pillow. So block, pillow. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get this block right at the base of my shoulder blades, right there. Trying to arch my back passively. So again, a couple of pillows, a block, and I'm showing this, I'm going to cut my body off, but I'm going to show you what the important part is. Now, this, you're going to end up going higher than you think. So let's see. Nope, not there, not there, not there. Yeah, that's it. That's pretty good. Now, that's part one. You might need some neck support, and I might want to get into the video here. So let me pull back a little bit. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, here we go. So again, I've got it right at the base of my shoulder blades. And yes, that's basically where a bra strap would be. I'm going to put this under my head. Oh, sorry, kitty. Just for a little bit of support. Now, this is key. Hands back. This is what really engages and pulls your shoulders back. Now, I don't know that I need this. I'd rather do something like this. There we go. So that's a good option. This is a really good version of the pose. Now, you might use the bench. So I'm going to show you the version on the bench here. And then you pick which one works for you. So bench, same thing. Lots of pillows. You can do this on furniture. You can do it however you want. So let's see how that works out. This is awkward to get into and awkward to get out of, and there's just nothing to do about that. On the floor is a lot easier to get into, but it's still awkward. So do basically like something like this. There we go. Scooch out a little bit higher. Yeah, that's about right. My feet are on the ground, and then here we go. Okay, so that's the version I'm going to do. Now, for years, I did this with I had to do some neck support stuff. So my neck has gotten much better doing these kind of poses. If you have trouble doing it this way, I'm going to show you a modification for how to hold your neck. So let's go ahead and get started. So remember that thing we did with hangman? I'm going to take my thumbs and hands, prayer pose, and I'm just going to put my head, going to cradle my head. Notice this actually, in one way, intensifies the pose. It makes the pose deeper. So this is actually, in some sense, deeper, but I've got my neck with some support. This is opening up my armpits quite a bit, and it's definitely getting the interstitial muscles on both sides of my rib cage. That feels really good, actually. I used to do it this way, but I wasn't able to twist this much, and so I didn't feel as good. But now that I'm doing it, it's really amazing. So I'm going to do this and just let it all relax and see how that works. That's pretty good too. Well, I'm getting some nice articulation in my spine. This one was hard for me to figure out how to do without hurting myself, honestly. It's easy to get, it's just a hard pose to get into, but it's worth it. I go ahead and do this again with my head because my neck is hurting just a little bit. And again, the important thing is most of my elbows are pointing up or backwards. Oh, so that's the thing that engages and get your spine really nice. And what now we're doing is extension. So we're doing extension of our spine in the thoracic area. But when we did the ragdoll earlier and folded forward, that would be flexion because we're closing the joint, not opening it. Closing is flexion, opening extension. Now, one other thing, and actually I sort of alluded to it. Sometimes your body is just not in a position to do these poses. Maybe you've done an injury or something like that. You got to work with where you're at. That's one thing. Don't do these poses on painkillers. Don't do, don't take Advil and do these. Okay, now to get out of this, I'm gonna just bring my hands up a little bit. I'm gonna start sliding down. And then in my case, I think I'm just gonna put my shin on the ground, but you might do that, put your hand down. Again, it's awkward, just it's awkward. Don't worry about it. Okay, now, I'll get this out of the way for the moment. What I want you to do now is get back to a standing position. I'm gonna integrate this. Okay, so this is a bit weird, but we're doing some twisting stuff. So first of all, just sort of twist at your waist. Okay, now just twist at your waist, but keep your shoulders in place. Okay, now move your shoulders opposite your waist, and then keep your head forward. Okay, nice. All right, now we're going to move on. See you in a second.